Hi, my name is Frida Sten, and this is my book review of The Indigo Spell, Book 3 in Richelle Mead's Bloodline series, which is the spin-off series to her much more famous work, Vampire Academy. Now, if you have watched my videos previously, you already know that I do not like talking to the camera like this. So instead, I do art. And for this book, I have chosen to make some fan art of the t-shirt Adrian makes in this book. This is no spoilers. You won't be spoiled by this, but I'm going to read you what he describes this as, or what the author describes it as. In white paint, he wrote his fake fraternity's initial, AIE. Isn't that what pirates say? Asked one of the other girls. Well, the alpha gems have Neolithical origins, he explained. To my horror, he began painting a pirate skeleton riding a motorcycle. Oh no, I groaned, not the tattoo. It's our logo, he said. Adrian and I had once investigated a tattoo parlor, and to distract the owner, he had gone in and pretended to be interested in a tattoo that sounded very much like what he was drawing now. At least I'd assumed he'd been pretending. Isn't it badass? Badass wasn't quite the word I would have used, but despite it being such a ridiculous image, he actually did a good job. Now I'll just skip a bit. He soon stopped with his banter and grew completely absorbed in his work, meticulously painting the skeleton's bones as well as that of a skeleton parrot sitting on the pirate's shoulder. Don't forget the ninja throwing stars. Right. So that is what I will be drawing for you. I hope you will enjoy it. Bye. This is my second most favorite book in the series, after The Golden Lily, of course. It has the same humorous charm as all the other books, and it continues with the plot points of Sydney questioning the alchemist, Sydney learning to become a witch, and the supreme force that is the romance between Sydney and Adrian. This is a wonderful book that has everything you loved about the previous books and more. Now let's go on to the spoilers, also known as me fangirling hard about everything I love about this book. I love it when Sydney and Adrian work together. They really are the dream team. One of my favorite lines in the entire series is, "And Angeline said I was too pretty to be useful." Because no, Adrian, you aren't too pretty to be useful. You are exactly right. I also love it when they are doing magic to find Marcus and Adrian just finds all the ingredients on a whim, and then randomly knows which building Sydney is talking about from her vision because of his art classes. And Marcus meeting Adrian? Chef's kiss. The protectiveness, the banter about hair care. Perfect. I love the crazy humor of the series. Evangeline saying she's only hanging on to her Spanish grade because of a piñata that was impossible to break, and how the teacher had to stop her from lighting it on fire. Evangeline is a great addition to the cast. Comedy gold, and you will never convince me of otherwise. I find it really funny how Sydney is so keen on naming cars when she doesn't give a shit about naming animals. This leads us to the bunny suite. Adrian undercover is a delight, and him freestyling is too funny, and how he immediately changes the story to them being a couple. This is just the Adrian experience, and I am here for it. The first kiss being while they are making t-shirts is great. I like the whole paint everywhere. And I also find it really funny that Adrian gave her a hickey, and she is so pissed about that. And how her how Mrs. Trevilliger just I think you should use a scarf, and the outrage when she sees the hickey. Perfect. Abe Masur has got some stiff competition now for the spot of my favorite minor character. Because enter Malachi Wolf. He had a minor part in the last book, but now he gets more page time, and boy does he use every minute of it. This is something I really like about Richelle Mead's writing. She knows how to make the characters memorable and lovable. There is basically the only character in this series that I don't appreciate is Zoe, Sydney's little sister. I mean, I hate Adrian's father and Sydney's father, but you're supposed to hate them. They do their part well. Zoe is just annoying, but other than her, I love the whole bunch. I think it was Eddie who came up with Marcus's gang's nickname, Marcus and his Merry Men. And I love it. It is perfect, and I smile every time I hear it, because I did the audiobook. Highly recommend the audiobook. You know, some couples adopt a cute cat or dog, but that is not enough for Sidrian. They get themselves a pet demon dragon, and they name it Hopper, after the made-up rabbit Sydney had as a kid. And I love that how they are basically its parents, and that Adrian is already showing himself as a bit of a deadbeat. I love it that Sydney is still socially clueless, because when she finds out that Evangeline tried to sneak Trey into her room, Sydney thinks to herself, Evangeline isn't that dedicated to math. They are, of course, messing around. And because Evangeline is in a relationship with Eddie, there is a lot of messiness. And to Trey's defense, he was not aware that Evangeline and Eddie were in a relationship, which makes sense because they are pretending to be siblings. Then there's the showdown between Adrian and Sydney and Elisa, and magic fights are always incredible. Sydney and Adrian win, they do not find Alicia's body even though the house is on fire, and they eventually find Mrs. Trevilliger. Miss Trevilliger? Which is it? Anyway, I love how the cats protected her. You know, this whole crazy cat lady stereotype, it needs to die because cats are incredible and a great company that will save your life one day. Sydney has decided to go into hiding with Marcus and his merry men. But first, she must return the gun she borrowed from Malachi Wolf. And Sydney visiting Malachi Wolf is the best thing in the entire book. As previously mentioned, Richelle Mead is really good at creating endlessly fascinating side characters. Malachi Wolf just has such absurd stories, and everything about him is just the world's biggest what the fuck. From the Chihuahua breeding to the eye patch that switches sides. Yeah. And he clocked Sidrian immediately and started telling her a story about how he and Silver-Toothed Sally fought their way through neutral Switzerland, and only for him to leave her to go study with a shaman or something in Arcadia. And then he regretted leaving her, but couldn't find her again. Haunts him every night. That's the first thing that makes her stay with Adrian. The second is a speech from Jill, which boils down to, staying would be a risk, and any life worth living will have risks. And now comes another one of my favorite quotes from Adrian. Let me get this straight. The future of our relationship hinged on advice from a 15-year-old girl, a probably untrue story from a one-eyed Chihuahua trainer, and me unromantically, yet skillfully, kissing you on top of silverware and china. And then the book ends with a British Dampier and Zoe the Awful Sister joining the team. And the dragon and car get their names. Hopper and the Avashka. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this book review and I hope you enjoyed my art. Have a good day and bye.